South Carolina at Tennessee. Tennessee's a 9.5-point home favorite. The over/under on this one is 52.5. Tennessee hung 62 on Missouri by themselves this past week. I tend, before I even make a prediction, I'm going to tend to take the over on this game because I don't think either defense is just a super defense that's going to shut anybody down. So I think there'll be a lot of yardage and a lot of points scored in this one. However, I do like that Tennessee front. Tennessee played very well. That front seven did against Florida in the first half. They just didn't have the depth, TK. But I don't think depth will be an issue for Tennessee with a rebuilding program like Shane Beamer has there in South Carolina.
Yeah, I really look forward to watching, what they do to Doty. He's struggling passing the ball right now, just completing about 58% of his passes. So I think that they come after him similar to kind of how they came after Missouri's quarterback, force him to get rid of the ball early and let those guys make some plays in their secondary. But like you said, I think it will be a high scoring game for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but when you talk about Luke Doty, one thing we saw even against Georgia, and he's shown it throughout his career, he has the ability to extend some plays, and he's got some mobility. He has some elusiveness about him. So Tennessee's going to have to be sure tacklers. I mean, TK, you've been on teams that have had to go up against mobile, elusive quarterbacks. I mean, what are some of the keys that you hear the defensive coaches preach to defensive players throughout the week when they're preparing for a mobile quarterback like that?
Man, just contain them. One, make sure you contain them, set the edge so he can't extend the play, get outside of the pocket. And once you keep him in that pocket, just walk those guys back and put them in his lap. And yeah, I mean, I think that's something that we do really well at Georgia.
Oh, no doubt. Georgia bottled it up. Luke Doty frustrated him a little bit. South Carolina equally has a challenge on their hand, TK, because Hendon Hooker is starting to play some really good football for Tennessee.
He did look better out there. He was slinging it around, 15 for 19, 3 tutties. He looked really nice out there. They got him some weapons as well. I think he played well.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about Hendon Hooker, Velvis Jones Jr., Javonte Payton, who had the long touchdown against Florida that they connected on. And I was texting somebody during that Georgia-Florida game. I said, or not the Tennessee-Florida game. I said, no matter what happens for the rest of this game, Hendon Hooker hitting that bomb touchdown to Javonte Payton was a big play for that program. Because, at the Swamp, Hendon Hooker hitting on a deep ball that had been a problem for Tennessee earlier in the year, and they connect on one. I think just from a confidence standpoint, TK, when you're maybe struggling early on in the passing game and then you connect with a quarterback for a long touchdown, I mean, just talk about what that can do for you as a receiver and offense and kind of the continuity there.
Man, it can ignite everything. I mean, it's something that you guys probably hit on week in and week out during practice. You probably connect on it all week, and then in the game, man, it's just a miscue here or there. Somebody's in his face or something, or he's juiced up and he overthrows it. So when that happens and you connect on him, it's a amazing feeling, and it's kind of one of those things that can ignite an offense, can ignite some confidence in probably the most important person on an offense, the quarterback, and from there, that synergy just takes off.
Yeah, and when you're talking about Tennessee, though, really taking off, where they did it this past week was in the run game. They had 458 yards rushing against Missouri. South Carolina has a good defensive front themselves in terms of defensive ends, guys that are going to probably be able to play at the next level, but they're going to have to really be gap sound against a Tennessee team that is going to use tempo to try to wear out South Carolina. And that volunteer crowd will be rocking after a big win for that program over Missouri. I know Missouri's struggling right now, TK, but when you're a program like Tennessee trying to pick up the pieces, and same thing with South Carolina, they had a nice win over Troy at home after getting blown out by Georgia. So, but before that, so we'll see, and then lost a close one to Kentucky. I mean, they had a close game against Kentucky, and we know that's a quality loss now because that Kentucky program is really on the rise, a good program, and they were within 6 points of those guys. So 9.5 point spread. What's your opinion on how this one plays out? Do you think South Carolina is able to keep it closer than 9.5? And who are you going to take outright?
Man, I'm taking Tennessee outright, but they might be able to keep it a little closer than that. But I'm gonna take Tennessee 35 to who? Nah, I don't think they keep it closer than that, actually. I'm saying 35-21.
35-21, and they're going to cover. So 35-21, that definitely puts you on the over in this game. I think Tennessee's on the over as well. I think it may be struggling early for both teams, kind of getting their feel, because South Carolina plays hard for Shane Beamer. You got to give them that. Josh Vann has turned into a excellent receiver, deep threat for South Carolina. He's got 16 catches, 332 yards, and 3 touchdowns, but they just don't have much production out of that. So can Tennessee I think Willie Martinez is up there with Josh Heupel now, a guy that Coach Willie a lot from your time at Georgia, but there's just not much production elsewhere. So I'm sure that Josh Heupel and his crew will be up there and, try to take away Josh Vann, keep containment on Luke Doty. South Carolina will get theirs early on, but I think that Tennessee pulls away at this one at the end, and I like them to score a good many points in this game. I'm going to say Tennessee wins this one. I'm gonna go with the over as well. I think Tennessee's going to score 38 points in this game. I'm going to pick them to win 38-17. So I like Tennessee to win that one. So I'm on the over.
I like that score too, Blayne. I like that. That's nice.
Yeah, they're on the over there. So I think Tennessee ends up winning. It's close at halftime, but Tennessee, I think, has a better front seven and wins with some depth. So Tennessee, TK and I both like Tennessee over South Carolina this week, week 6 of SEC football action.